Let me just drop this a little bit. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Caleb and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 different ways that you can invest $500 starting today, because I know there's a lot of people out there that have some money sitting on the sidelines or really want to get into investing and savings but have no idea where to start. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you just some options to get you started, get your kind of brain juices flowing a little bit on what you want to do with this money. And yeah, we'll just jump right into it. Now, the very first thing that I would say to do with $500 is to start investing in a Roth IRA. Now, if you have absolutely no clue what to do with your $500, this is the no-brainer solution, in my opinion. One of the best things that you can do that will have a great long-term impact is investing in one of these accounts. And basically what it is a retirement account that you can contribute up to $6,000 a year to. And then if you wait until the age of 59 and a half, you can withdraw everything out of the account, including the gains, tax-free. Now, these accounts are really great because you can get easy, hands-off, and diverse exposure to the stock market and different types of investments. And you basically just let your investments snowball over time with compound interest. And so it's really good to invest in these consistently if you are. And the reason why I said $500 is because if you do $500 a month, you can actually hit that $6,000 per year cap on the Roth IRA. Now, if you can't hit the $6,000 a year mark, it's still really good to invest in these consistently. Maybe you could do $5 a day, or you could do $50 a week, or somewhere in that range. But if you have $500 laying around, this could be a great place to start. Now, I just want to show you something real quick to kind of motivate you and see what I'm talking about with the compound interest thing, because it is really powerful after a long time. So I have this compound interest calculator sitting here, and I put the initial deposit at $6,000, so let's pretend you already have been doing this for a year, and you contribute $500 a month to it over the span of 40 years with a 7% average annual return, which is typically the return of the S&P 500 over like a 20, 30, 40-year period. And if it's compounding annually, you will end up with well over $1 million by the time you retire. So if you start doing this at the age of 20 and you stop at the age of 60, right after that age of 59 and a half, like I was talking about, you'll have a little over $1.2 million. Now, the percentage annual return here is actually after inflation. So inflation is typically around the 2%, maybe 3% range. So 7% would be after inflation kicks in. And so if you look down here, the total principal put in, this means that you're only putting about $246,000 of your own money into this account. So that $1 million there is not even money that you put in. That's the money that grew in the account from you doing this for 40 years. So this is really good motivation. And if you're doing this $500 every single month, you can expect to get some kind of results very close to this. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but this is the core and backbone to any investor, in my opinion, and I think this is a great place to get started. Now, moving on to the next thing on my list here, we're going to talk about real estate. Now, you may be wondering, how do I buy real estate with only $500? Well, this is a little bit different. This is called an REIT, and this stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. To put things simply, it's basically a mutual fund for real estate properties instead of company stocks. So tons of investors will pool their money into this fund, and you can earn money from real estate investments without having to buy, manage, or finance any actual properties. This fund can invest in apartments, hotels, offices, and business centers, and kind of things like that. Now, many REITs can actually be bought and sold just like stocks on the stock exchange. Real estate investing like this can provide a stable cash flow through dividends for you, and you can get exposed to a different market sector by doing this. Now, there's an app I have called Diversyfund, which I've heard is a pretty decent entry point for REITs. Personally, I haven't invested money through them yet, but you can get started on their platform for just $500, and that's why I added that to this list. And to take things one step further, if you have 2 sets of $500, you can use a different app called Fundrise, which is another similar platform, and you can get started with their basic level for just $1,000. Now, I'm not sponsored by either of these two things, but I'll be sure to leave links to them in the description below so you can go check them out. I plan to invest in both of these in the future, but I just haven't yet. But I do encourage you to check these out because it could be a good addition to your portfolio. Now, the third thing I wanted to talk about in today's video is your debt. So I think that if you have an extra $500 laying around, you should be paying off your debt. Just chunk that thing down. $500 even just one time can make a big difference if you only have a little bit on a couple credit cards. But if you can do this every single month, you can get rid of debt incredibly fast. Now, honestly, I recommend you should be paying off even more than this if you have the ability to. But like I said, $500 is a really great place to start. And removing debt is one of the first things that you should do on your path to wealth. Now, if you have any credit cards, medical bills, or car payments or things like that, Making extra payments can lower the total interest you'll end up paying throughout the period because a lower balance means the interest doesn't snowball as fast. So you're basically saving money in the long term by paying down your debt quicker. Paying as little interest as possible is a great way to just get money back in your pocket. And if all you have is a couple maxed out credit cards, then a couple increments of $500 could really make a big difference in the debt that you owe. If you can afford to pay an extra $500 every single month for your debt, if you don't really have that much, then you could get that paid off in just a couple of months. Plus, this is a great way to boost your credit score in the process. All right, now that we got the debt out of the way, let's talk about the fourth thing here. You could start a side hustle. Now, obviously, some side hustles will have a startup cost of more than $500, but I think $500 can be a great place to start depending on what you choose. And a lot of these things that I'm about to mention could be less than $500 to start, but here's some examples. So the first one is YouTube, of course. You could use your phone or you could buy a camera. You could start beat production or music, and you could get a beat machine for as little as $100 on Amazon. You could start selling your handmade crafts on Etsy or something like that, and you can buy a sewing machine or leatherworking tools, crochet hooks and yarn, things like that. You could also start doing photography. So you could buy a camera once again. You could get Photoshop. Those are both under $500. You could start graphic design. You could get Adobe Illustrator and a tablet. You could also find these things for less than $500. You could start some other side gig like being a florist or 3D printing maybe. I was looking on Amazon like a week ago, and I found a ton of 3D printers that are way less than $500. So that could be a place to start. And then you could also do like game streaming. So you could just buy a webcam, a mic, and play some games and film yourself reacting to it or just enjoying yourself. And that's definitely less than $500, so you could start there. Now, I could really go on and on forever with these different things, but all these things have the potential to bring you some side cash if you really put in the work to get it off the ground and network yourself enough. And I think if you've always had some passion kind of in the back of your mind, using that extra $500 could be just the thing to get yourself started. All right, number 5. Now, of course I had to put this one on the list because this is the entire theme of my YouTube channel here, and that is to invest in yourself. If you don't know what else to do and you've already put money towards the first 4 things on this list, I think that you can always spend a little bit to further your education or learn a new skill. Now, I'm not really talking about going to college or going into debt because I think there's a lot cheaper options if you're on a $500 budget. I'm more talking about like taking an online course that's of a high quality or working towards a license or a certification of some kind. You could even go drop some cash on a handful of books or audiobooks and you could learn something new the old-fashioned way. I really think that this is actually an underplayed and undervalued way to learn, and if you don't know what else to do, then just pick up some books and start reading and just see where it takes you. Honestly, one of my favorite things to do every now and then is if I have an extra $100 or $200 sitting on the side, I'll just go down to my local bookstore and grab a handful of books on finance and psychology, maybe some entrepreneurial topics, and I'll just get to reading. And I think that reading is one of the things that almost every wealthy person has done a lot of at some point, so it couldn't really hurt to make a habit of this. Now, to take this one step further, you could also invest in yourself by simply just getting better insurance. So you could get better dental insurance or life insurance or health insurance, or you could even just invest in your diet and exercise routine. You can make use of this extra money by just eating better, getting a smoothie blender, you could buy more high quality foods, things like that. Or you could get a gym membership or a decent bike and start exercising so you can get more active. Maybe you could get some hiking boots too. Now, all these things are much less than $500 except for maybe the bike. But I think climbing a mountain or going on a backpacking trip could honestly benefit your future overall just as much as investing just straight up money could. In my opinion, a healthy body equals a healthy mind, and there's just so many different ways that you can invest in yourself outside of the world of finance and wealth building. And I think it could be really beneficial long term to get started on some of these productive habits early on in life instead of waiting till you're older. Now, overall, there's really quite a lot that you can do with $500, but the important thing here is to just get started with something. And if you happen to have an extra $500 on a monthly basis, the options become almost endless. All you have to do is just give some good thought to what you value in your own life and weigh the pros and cons with all these different options and find an idea that works for you and just get at it. I think that you should always be working towards something that can benefit your future, and playing your $500 smart could really have a big difference in your trajectory. I really hope you guys enjoyed my perspective in today's video and found value in something that I said. And if you have any other good ideas for what you could do with $500, I would love to hear about them in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a big fat like down below. And if you want to see more weekly content just like this, please hit that subscribe button down below as well with the little notification bell next to it. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.